Hello, my friend. I am so glad you are here with me today. Take a deep breath and let your mind travel with me. We are going on a journey across time and across a vast, beautiful land. Imagine you are standing on a high mountain peak in northern China. The wind is cold, but the sun is bright. Below you, a line of stone and earth stretches out like a giant dragon. It follows the curves of the mountains. It goes up and down, disappearing into the clouds. This is the Great Wall of China. In its home language, it is called the Wanli Changcheng. This means the long wall of 10,000 miles. But it is much more than just a wall. It is a story of a nation. It is a story of millions of lives. Do you see it now? The way the gray stones look against the green trees. It feels like the wall has always been here. It feels like it grew out of the earth itself. People often ask, why is it here? Or, who built this amazing thing? In this story, we will find those answers together. We will listen to the whispers of the ancient earth. We will talk about the kings who dreamed of power. We will talk about the workers who gave everything they had to build it. This journey is not just about history books and dates. It is about the human spirit. It is about the things we build to protect the people we love. It is about how one idea can change the world forever. So, are you ready to walk with me? Let us step back into the past. Let us find out how this great dragon was born, and why it still speaks to us today. Long ago, China was not one single country. It was a collection of many small kingdoms. This was a time of great sadness and constant fighting. History calls this the Warring States period. Imagine living in a small village during this time. You are a farmer. You love your family and your land, but you are always afraid. You look at the horizon and wonder if soldiers are coming. In those days, there was no peace. Every king wanted more power. Every kingdom wanted to take land from its neighbor. To stay safe, these kings began to build walls. They were not the stone walls we see today. They were simple walls made of packed earth and wood. These early walls were like lines in the sand. They said, "This is my land. Do not cross." They protected the farmers in the cities from nearby enemies. But there was another danger too. To the north, there were groups of people who lived on the open grass. They were excellent horse riders. They did not live in cities. Instead, they moved from place to place. Sometimes they would ride south to take food and riches from the Chinese villages. The kings realized that a small wall was not enough. The danger was too big. They needed something stronger. They needed a way to keep their people safe from the northern tribes. This was the beginning of a very big idea. It was the idea that a wall could be a shield. But the land was still divided. The walls were broken and separate. Each king only cared about his own small space. Can you imagine the chaos? Many walls, many kings, and many wars. China was like a broken mirror. It was beautiful, but it was in many pieces. The people were tired of the fighting. They wanted someone to bring them together. They wanted a leader who could see the whole picture. And soon, that leader would arrive. He would change the face of the earth forever. Around the year 221 before the Common Era, a powerful man changed everything. His name was Qin Shi Huang. He was the first emperor of a unified China. He was a man of great vision, but also a man of great steel. Qin Shi Huang looked at the many small kingdoms he had conquered. He wanted them to be one heart and one soul. But he knew the danger from the north was still there. He had a bold and terrifying plan. "We will connect the walls," he said. He did not want many small walls anymore. He wanted one great wall. He wanted a line that would never break. He wanted to protect his new empire from the outside world. Think about the scale of this dream. It was thousands of miles long. It crossed deserts, rivers, and the highest mountains. There were no machines back then. There were no trucks or cranes. There was only the power of human hands. The emperor sent hundreds of thousands of people to work. There were soldiers, farmers, and even prisoners. They worked in the freezing cold of winter. They worked in the burning heat of summer. It was a task that seemed impossible. They used whatever they could find nearby. In the mountains, they used heavy stones. In the flatlands, they used rammed earth. This is soil that is packed so tightly it becomes as hard as rock. But this great vision had a dark side. The work was very, very hard. Many people did not have enough food. Many grew sick from the heavy labor. History tells us that many men never returned to their families. People began to call the wall the longest cemetery on earth. It was a place of great achievement, but also of great sorrow. The emperor got his wall, and China became one. But the cost was written in the sweat and lives of his people. Do you think a leader should ask for so much? It is a difficult question. The wall kept the enemies out, but it also kept the pain in. Qin Shi Huang's vision created a masterpiece, but it was a masterpiece built on the backs of the humble. When we look at the Great Wall, we see stones, we see towers, but we must also try to see the faces of the people. Behind every brick, there is a human story. There is a heart that beat with hope and fear. For the workers, the wall was not a symbol of glory. It was a place of long days and lonely nights. They missed their wives. They missed their children. They wrote poems and songs about the dust and the wind. One of the most famous stories is the legend of Meng Jiangnu. It is a story that every child in China knows. It helps us understand the emotional weight of the wall. Meng Jiangnu's husband was taken away to work on the wall just days after their wedding. Winter came, and she was worried. She made warm clothes for him and walked thousands of miles to find him. When she finally arrived at the Great Wall, she received terrible news. Her husband had died from the hard work. He was buried somewhere under the wall itself. Meng Jiangnu was heartbroken. She sat by the wall and cried for many days. Her grief was so powerful that the wall felt her pain. Suddenly, a large section of the wall collapsed. It opened up to show her husband's remains so she could give him a proper burial. This story might be a legend, but the feeling is very real. It represents the millions of families who were broken by the construction. It reminds us that history is not just about emperors. It is about the love of ordinary people. When you walk on the wall today, listen closely. Can you hear the echoes of the past? Can you feel the strength of those who stood there before us? The Great Wall is a monument to human power, yes, but it is also a monument to human endurance. It shows us how much a person can suffer for a cause. It shows us the deep love that connects us, even when walls try to keep us apart. As the centuries passed, the Great Wall changed. It was not built all at once. Different dynasties or families of rulers added to it. They fixed the old parts and built new sections. The Han Dynasty was one of these groups. They lived about 2,000 years ago. They realized the wall could do more than just stop armies. It could also help with trade. During this time, the Silk Road became very important. This was a famous path for traders. They carried silk, tea, and spices from China to the West. In return, they brought back horses, gold, and new ideas. The Great Wall protected these traders. It was like a safe road in a dangerous land. Along the wall, the government built watchtowers. Soldiers lived in these towers. They watched for any sign of trouble. If they saw an enemy, they used smoke signals during the day. At night, they used fire. This was an ancient version of the internet. Information could travel very fast across the mountains. One tower would see the smoke and light their own fire. Then the next tower would do the same. In this way, the emperor could know about a danger hundreds of miles away in just a few hours. This system kept the traders safe and the empire strong. The wall also became a place where different cultures met. Soldiers and traders talked to each other. They shared stories and food. The wall was a barrier, but it was also a bridge. It connected the heart of China to the rest of the world. Isn't it interesting? A wall is built to keep people out, but over time, it actually helped people come together for trade and talk. The purpose of the wall was always changing, just like the world around it. It grew longer. It grew stronger. And with every new dynasty, it became a more important part of the Chinese identity. It was no longer just a fence. It was the backbone of the country. Most of the Great Wall that you see in pictures today was built during the Ming Dynasty. This was between the years 1368 and 1644. This was the golden age of the wall. The Ming emperors were very serious about defense. They did not want to use just earth and wood. They wanted the wall to be beautiful and unbreakable. They used heavy stone blocks and bright, strong bricks. They built the wall to be very wide. In many places, it is wide enough for 5 horses to ride side by side. This allowed soldiers to move quickly to any place where there was a fight. The Ming Wall is famous for its incredible watchtowers. These are the square buildings you see every few hundred meters. They look like small castles. Inside, there were rooms for soldiers to sleep and places to store food and weapons. Imagine being a mason during the Ming Dynasty. Your job is to make the bricks. You have to mix the clay perfectly. You have to fire them in a hot oven until they are strong. Some of these bricks even have the names of the workers carved into them. This was a way to make sure everyone did high-quality work. They even used a special secret ingredient in the mortar, which is the glue between the bricks. Do you know what it was? It was sticky rice. The rice made the mortar very strong and water-resistant. This is why so much of the Ming Wall is still standing today, even after 500 years. The Ming Dynasty also built the wall in very difficult places. They built it on the edges of steep cliffs. They built it across deep valleys. When you look at it, you have to wonder, how did they get those heavy stones up there? It was a masterpiece of engineering. It was a work of art made of stone. The Ming Wall is the version that people fall in love with today. It is the image of strength and beauty that represents the pride of a nation. What was it like to actually live on the Great Wall? For thousands of soldiers, this was their home. It was a life of duty, but also a life of waiting. Many soldiers were sent from far away. They lived in the watchtowers. In the winter, the wind would howl through the stone windows. They had to keep fires burning just to stay warm. They wore thick clothes made of sheepskin. Their days were spent watching the horizon. They looked for the dust of horses or the flash of armor. Most of the time, though, it was very quiet. To pass the time, they played games or carved their names into the stones. But the soldiers were not alone. Near the wall, small villages and communities began to grow. These people provided food and supplies to the army. Farmers grew grain in the valleys below. Blacksmiths made swords and shields. The wall became a busy place. It was like a long, thin city stretching across the country. There were markets where soldiers could buy tea or extra boots. There were even some families who lived near the gates. Communication was a big part of life. As we mentioned, smoke and fire were used for signals. But they also used drums and bells. Each sound had a different meaning. One drum beat might mean everything is fine. 3 drum beats might mean prepare for battle. Can you imagine the feeling of being a young soldier on your first night of guard duty? The moon is high. The mountains are dark. You are responsible for the safety of the whole empire. It must have been very frightening, but also very proud. The wall was a living thing. It was full of the sounds of voices, the smell of cooking fires, and the clanging of metal. It was a world of its own. It was a place where life happened every day, right on the edge of the wilderness. Today, the Great Wall of China is no longer a military defense. No soldiers stand on the towers with bows and arrows. Instead, the wall has a new role. It is a symbol of history and a bridge for the world. Every year, millions of people from every country travel to see it. They walk where the ancient soldiers walked. They touch the stones that were placed there hundreds of years ago. It is one of the new 7 wonders of the world. For the Chinese people, the wall is a source of great pride. It represents their long history and their ability to overcome any challenge. It is a reminder that when people work together, they can do something eternal. However, the wall is also fragile. Time, weather, and too many visitors can hurt the stones. Some parts of the wall are disappearing. In some rural areas, people used to take bricks from the wall to build their own houses or farms. They didn't realize how important the history was. Now, there are big efforts to protect the wall. The government and many groups are working hard to fix the broken parts. They use the same ancient methods, like the sticky rice mortar, to keep it authentic. There is a famous saying in China, "He who has not climbed the Great Wall is not a true man." This means that to understand life and strength, you must experience the challenge of the climb. When people visit today, they often feel small. The mountains are so big, the wall is so long. It makes us think about our place in time. We are only here for a short while, but the things we build can last for thousands of years. The wall has become a place of peace. People go there to take photos, to hike, and to think. It is a place where the whole world comes to say, wow. It is no longer a wall that divides us. It is a place that brings us together, to wonder at what humans can achieve. And so, we come to the end of our journey. We have seen the wall as a dream, a shield, a tragedy, and a masterpiece. We have heard the stories of emperors and the tears of wives. What is the final message of the Great Wall? Perhaps it is this: humans have a deep need to protect what they value. We build walls to keep out the wind, the cold, and our enemies. But the greatest things we build are the ones that endure in our hearts. The Great Wall is a physical thing, yes. It is made of stone and brick. But it is also an eternal echo. It is the sound of millions of people saying, "We were here. We worked. We struggled. We survived." When you think of the wall now, I hope you don't just see a fence. I hope you see the courage of the human spirit. I hope you see the beauty that can come from hard work and shared vision. Life often gives us walls to climb. Sometimes we feel tired, like the ancient workers. Sometimes we feel lonely, like the soldiers in the towers. But like the Great Wall, we can be strong. We can stand tall against the wind. My friend, thank you for walking this path with me today. It has been a joy to share these stories with you. I hope you feel a little more connected to the world and its history. The Great Wall will be there for a long, long time. And the story we shared today is now a part of you too. Carry it with you as you go about your day. Remember the strength of the stones and the warmth of the human heart. Until we meet again for our next story.